Okay, so behind me are my two E36s, my Non-M E36 323 IS and my 95 M3. This is a 1999. So there's going to be the two variations. This one's OBD2, this one's OBD1. I'm going to give you guys a rundown of mostly the cosmetic differences, how you can tell the two apart, whether you can tell it's an M3, which oftentimes these days it's very hard to tell because people put M3 side skirts, bumpers, and slap on an LTW wing on all their E36s. But the time has come, unfortunately, that I'm selling this one. And so I wanted to get this video out the door before she's no longer with us and I only have the M3 because I can't justify having both. They're the same platform, same car pretty much. So we're gonna start here with my Non-M E36. This is a 1999 BMW 323 IS. So I'll show you guys from the back. This is the two. There's some notable differences. I will point out that I am running Apex Arc 8s on the Non-M E36, and my M3 has Style 24s. They're the genuine BMW Motorsport Style 24 wheels that are polished. So fitment wise, they're also not factory, and I'll explain that here in a second. But we will start over here with this one that after today I will not have, and then talk a little bit about this one, which you guys will probably see a lot more on my channel because I'm keeping it. So this one here, the E36 that I purchased in Hawaii when I was still living there, I bought it bone stock, had basically one owner, and is just super clean, which is why I haven't sold it this whole time. The original plan was to do some sort of motor swap and transmission swap because it is an automatic. But one of the biggest differences with the M3 versus non-M3 is the interior, okay? So we'll actually just start with the interior because it's very easy to tell. The differences, that being everything from the steering wheel to, well, this is an automatic, but you would be able to tell the seats are different. This has just the standard bolsters and seats. That's kind of what the back seats look like. And being an automatic, the shift boot won't be, well, obviously will be different because this is an automatic and the other one's a manual. But let me think, what else? Pedals. So these little liners, what is this called? The trim piece for the molding here is different. On a non-M car, it doesn't say anything. Everything here is pretty much stock in terms of the, factory interior. I wanted to keep it that way because it's just kind of nice having all original E36, just kind of the way that I like it. So hop in here real quick. You guys can see kind of POV if you're in the car. This is the vibe. Turn the lights on, kind of get some of the illumination there. I did install a Bluetooth enabled BMW Business head unit, which allows you to hook it up to Bluetooth without having a silly, or a super ugly head unit or anything like that. But, floor mats, things like that are going to be different here. So this is the non-M car interior space. Like, this is what the door cards and everything look like. Now if we go to the M3, this is what the interior looks like. It's quite a bit different. This is also a 95, which means it's OBD1. And so there are some generation differences between OBD2 and OBD1, namely being the climate control system. So if you sit in here, you'll see that there are knobs instead of buttons like the other one. There's no automatic climate control. You have to select it with the switch, and then you can select your temperature, but it doesn't set it automatically. There's no auto button. Obviously this is a manual, so that's the difference there. This does have the M-Rain interior, as you guys can probably see from the first shot. And this is an aftermarket steering wheel that's, well, it's a replica, I think, of the M-Technic steering wheel that comes on either the GT or LTW or something like that. But it just looks a lot better. It still has, horn, airbag, all that good stuff. This car does have the M-Rain conversion, so it's not on the headliner, but it is on the seats and the door cards. So I have pull straps instead of a door handle, which is kind of fun. That's traditionally it's supposed to be for weight reduction, but this is obviously cosmetic. You're not saving enough to really make a difference here, and this is certainly not a race car by any means. But let's make sure I don't hit my other E36 there. But got some baby wipes. Yep, always prepared. Got the door cards in M-Rain. Let me get out so it's easier to see interior. Again, M-Rain stitching. These are Vaders, the sort of sought after seats. I personally don't think they're all that comfortable in terms of both if you're running it on track, trying to get stability when you're cornering in terms of the bolsters. They fit okay, and there's absolutely no headrest, so mostly aesthetic. They look kind of cool, but functionally they're just okay. Like, give it a 7 out of 10. People just like it, and it's kind of a thing that's become popular. But M-Rain interior, M3 floor mats, and this does have the BMW Motorsport International sills, door sills. That's what it's called. Couldn't think of that. And 3 pedals, of course, and fully converted interior for this car. So let's move on to the exterior. So we're going to start from the front of the car and work our way to the back, and then we'll talk about powertrain, which is obviously different in a non-M car versus M3 from an E36 chassis. But noticeably, there are some differences in the front end, which this is not all stock, but I'll explain the differences here. So basically, front bumper, this is a non-M car, and so I'll post pictures and show you guys a better view of this, because this is in 0.5 because I'm at the end of my garage here. But the front end is what this looks like, and this is the M3 front bumper on E36 M3, which looks a little bit different. Most everybody does the M3 conversion to fitting their M3 bumper, or an M3 bumper rather, on a non-E36 M3, on a non-E36, Jesus, just to make it look like this, because the fitment just is a lot better with the body lines of the car and that sort of thing. I did aftermarket headlights and the markers for these. So of course they have the halos, which I think looks so good. And I have the halogen halos because personally, I feel that looks better on a late 90s car rather than the LED versions. They look a little bit ricey to me, and not a big fan of those. So also, being that this is an OBD1 car from 1995 versus an OBD2 in 1999, this does have a different front fascia. So the grille on this, these grille inserts rather, will not fit on an OBD2 car. So this little part here that sits above the front bumper is a little bit different, and the kidney grills are a different shape, and they protrude a little bit more on the 99 or 96 to 99 rather, and they're more flush with the front fascia here on the 94, 95, so OBD1, which I've never seen a 94 M3. Pretty sure they only made them in 95, OBD1, and then the 96, they started the OBD2. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's from my personal experience what I've seen. So front end, that's what it looks like. Then we'll get to the mirrors. So M mirrors look like this. Both of them are painted. There's a little bit more plastic on the non-M mirrors, but obviously these are smaller. These are a little bit larger and wider. So I guess if you don't want to see people passing you, or if you don't want to be able to see things behind you as much, buy the M3. So like you can see that the visibility, like the window, is a little bit smaller there. It's a lot larger on the non-M car. Plus there's this little plastic piece. Everything on the mirror for the M3 is painted like this. So mirror differences, another easy way to spot. People do, of course, the mirror conversion to add it on the non-M cars as well. Then we'll talk about briefly, wheels obviously and suspension are going to be different if they're stock, but nobody ever keeps their E36 suspension stock. So this is running ISC N1 coilovers, which are adjustable. This is running ST coilovers, the street ones. Both of them are street sort of spring rates, both adjustable dampening, height adjustable, all that good stuff. And then of course the wheels and tires are aftermarket, which these are the Apex Arc 8s and 17x9, 30 millimeter offset with Toyo R888Rs in race silver, which I think are the perfect fitment for this car. So something to note is that OBD2 cars have this side marker that's different. The OBD1 cars have this sort of different shape here. So that's another way to spot if it's a 94, 95 versus a 96 to 99, they look like that. Moving on to then the side trim molding piece on the car. So you'll see that the trim is a little bit different here, and it's more flat on the M car. People again can do that conversion as well, but this is better for swinging your door open and not getting your paintwork messed up. So this also has, again, the BMW Motorsport International, whatever, the LTW kind of side skirts here, or the side trim that are different. Then the side skirts, it's a little bit hard to tell, but if you look closely, there's sort of a difference between what the M car side skirts look like versus the non-M. They're just a little bit more flat and kind of a singular piece versus a little bit of a kind of crease situation going on up there. Then we'll move on to the back of the cars. So, of course, these are both LTW wings. Neither of these are LTW cars because otherwise I would have $500,000 sitting in my garage, which I don't. But the badging is obviously original, so that's true that this is a 323 IS and this is an M3. But the bumpers are a little bit different. So if you'll notice, the diffuser there is flat, and the diffuser on the M car is like this. And there's obviously aftermarket diffusers that people like to run as well, but personally I think this is fine. These are also a little bit wider, just in terms of the amount that they come out. If you'll notice, this is more like indented. Let's try to get a shot here so you can see a little bit better. But this is the non-M bumper, the rear bumper, and then this is the M bumper. So very subtle difference there, and the sort of cutout for the exhaust looks a little bit different as well, but not a huge difference, just kind of a subtle aesthetic difference there for the M car versus non-M car. So aesthetically, that's the breakdown. I could do a driving comparison video, but there's really not much point because this is an automatic and this is a manual. So just that in itself would be very different. But I will say that this has still been a very fun car for me, and I hate to see it go. And mostly because I bought it bone stock in Hawaii and drove it a lot there, put in all this work to get, the fitment the way that it is. I mean, I feel like it's perfect. Like the wheel setup, which I talked about in another video so that you guys have a clear picture of that. But real quick, powertrain, I guess I'll pop the hood to show you guys real quick what that looks like under the hood of the M3 and the 323 IS. Okay, so under the hood, we'll start with the non-M car. This is the stock block M52, M as in Mike. This is naturally aspirated. Everything looks stock here, except you can see the shock towers. They have the strut towers rather. The adjustability for the ISC N1s. But this is stock. There's really nothing to see here. This is what the motor looks like. M52 is pretty bulletproof, reliable, not if you put boost to it, but it is reliable to up to 200,000 plus miles. That's why you see all these E36s that are still clapped out that have the stock motor and it's still running. because this is a solid one. And every E36 I've had, among the 5 or 6 that I've had now, the non-M cars have been super reliable, just oil changes, runs on pump gas, no issues. So that's what this one looks like. The M car, of course, we have the S50, because this is a OBD1, which means it's the S50 B30 US version. So the US spec, of course, is garbage. It doesn't have individual throttle bodies. It looks a little bit different from the European one. Of course, has a dyno intake. This is dyno stage 3. It has, you know, the chip ECU for engine management, the intake, you know, the exhaust. Actually, not the exhaust. That's a Corsa exhaust. But it's running a bunch of dyno parts that are good. Mishimoto radiator to keep it cool if and when I run this on the track. And, you know, stock long block. But yeah, those are the engine bay differences. Power-wise, they're both slow. That's all you need to know. These are not any of the fastest cars that I've had, but that's not why I have them. They're just kind of fun to have. So, yep, that is the powertrain differences for the most part. This being a manual, that being non-manual, that's being automatic. And yep. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the video in terms of the differences between the M3 and the non-M3, the E36 non-M car. Just wanted to put this together again before I sold my 1999 BMW 323 IS. I really don't want to think about it. If I look at it too much, then I'll not sell it, but I don't need to have an M3 and a non-M3, especially being an automatic. The original plan, of course, was to buy this as a super clean chassis, you know, with less than 70,000 miles, just to keep it clean. You know, it's a straight frame, so I could do an engine swap, full powertrain with a different transmission. But plans have changed, and I feel like if I did all that, I could put the money into a 911. Well, I could probably buy half of a 911, even 964, but this is now my baby, and you know, I think the plans for this, we'll have to see. I'll keep you guys posted on the channel, but this is the one I do plan on keeping for a while. I'll do my best not to sell it. That's exactly what I said about this one. Probably what I say about every car that I have, but I have a problem, obviously, and so I'm making these videos on this channel to document that. So hope you guys found this video useful or enjoyable, and hope you enjoyed the content with this E36 while I had it. I might end up, you know, buying a second set of wheels instead of the Style 24s to have apexes I could run on the M3 as well, just so I could feel something again. But yeah, pretty much it for this one. If you guys have any questions about fitment, you know, powertrain differences, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.